you looking for money? So am I. Stay tuned. I'm going to give you an update on the PPP loan, second draw, and an update on EIDL. Stay tuned. Okay, I am back, and today is Tuesday, January 19th. So you guys know the last video that I had placed, I stated that the EIDL site, the SBA.gov EIDL loan should be opening up around the 17th. That's what they stated on the actual site, but there seems to be a bit of a delay, so it's probably going to be like a week or so. We're going to continue to give you updates. We collectively, divas and jivas in this business sector, we're going to continue to look for updates on EIDL. We do know that if you did not receive the full grant, that you will receive the full grant this go around. So whatever the difference of the money that you receive, you'll get it. So if you got $8,000, you'll get the additional $2,000. If you just got $1,000, you get the additional $9,000. We do know that. So look for the SBA.gov people to contact you directly, okay? So it's going to be the email, whatever email that you gave them, make sure it's still up and running. That's how they're going to contact you, okay? Yes, so now that we're done with that, let's get into some PPP updates, because I haven't done a lot in relation to the PPP loans, the first draw and the second draw. So I know what you are asking. I want to be able to pull from it a second time. Will I be able to? Absolutely yes. You will be able to. So one thing that I want you guys to know are the highlights around the PPP, the payment protection, the paycheck, protection program. The second round of the federal funds to small businesses is already on its way out the door. They opened the doors actually on the 11th of January for the paycheck protection program. EIDL, they waited to the 17th, but we're still waiting. So can we say the 17th? We can't. We're still waiting, but it's coming. The total PPP loan grant was $284.5 billion for PPP loans, with $137 billion set aside for second drawers. So this is for those who want to get the second iteration of the loan. You need some more funds. Business is still not back up to running. You've suffered a loss through certain months between 2020 in comparison to 2019. The span of months is a little greater. I'll get into that, so stay tuned. But the second draw loan for firms that need help beyond the initial loan. So this is going to be help in addition to the loan. You've either exhausted those funds or you are set for those funds to be exhausted within the next couple of months, related to operation expenses. That's what the first draw was related to, operation expenses. Okay? All right. So much like the EIDL, the funding has been modified the second time around with an eye towards supplying funds to minority, women, veteran-owned businesses, etc. So it's still looking at the low-income areas. It's still looking at the minority businesses, the areas that the household income is within a certain percentage of the median. Still, those rules, those guidelines from the EIDL that I covered in video 1 and 2 apply here as well, okay? Those firms got a 2-day head start when the PPP portal reopened. So for those that fit into that particular category of minority-owned businesses in low-income areas, they were able to apply 2 days ahead of others, right? As long as you fell within those guidelines. So remember, my first video, I've given you a link where you can find the mapping tool to make sure if you're in that particular target area. Also, to look on the SBA.gov site for information around the EIDL as well as the PPP loan. I'll drop those links in the description as well here, okay? Another set of terms is that for a second loan, you must have fewer than 300 employees. You must be able to prove that you've used or mostly expended your first loan, okay? You must be able to demonstrate a drop of 25% in your gross annual receipts from any quarter in 2020 compared to that same time period in the year before, 2019. And the business must still be open. So it can't be closed, right? Gots to be open. The second round of PPP loans is similarly structured to the first time in terms of which type of businesses can apply through the ceiling on what can be borrowed is lower, okay? The first time PP loans max out at about 10 million. That was the first time. The second draw loans are capped at 2 million. So you won't be able to get as much as the first, but you will be able to get a little more assistance, okay? So the first time PPP loans, they max out at 10 million. So if you're a first time applier this go around, your max will be 10 million. If you are a second drawer, meaning you're going in for a loan for a second time to get some help, your max is capped at 2 million. Gross receipts. What are gross receipts? So this includes all revenue in whatever form received or accrued in accordance with the borrower's accounting method from whatever source. So this is going to include from the sale of products or services, interest made, dividends made, rents, royalties, fees or commission, reduced by the return and allowances. So, you know, of course, you're going to take what you've made in profit and you're going to deduct your expenses, etc., right? But you've got to make sure that whatever that extra is that's considered your gross receipts, all right? Generally, receipts are considered total income plus cost of goods sold and exclude net capital gains and losses. The terms are defined and reported on the IRS state form. The amount of any given first draw PPP loan, among other things, shall not be included towards gross receipts. So whatever you received from the first PPP loan, you will not include that as gross receipts for consideration of your second draw. Clear as mud? Right. In addition to meeting the threshold for reduction in gross receipts, second draw PPP borrowers like net new first draw borrowers must still certify on the loan application that current economic uncertainty makes the loan request necessary to support the ongoing operation of your business. So even though you're going in for a second time, you still have to validate and make sure that you are proving that you need this money in order to continue to have your business open and operating in operational standards, okay? Now we have some new PPP rules. This is why you had to stay into this video. So you can get these new rules, okay? PPP funds for new or existing first draw loans that have not yet been forgiven and second draw loans can be used for several new category of expenses that will qualify for forgiveness. So, you know, the first time, the first draw, there was a subset of categories you could use the money for. Well, now they've opened that up a little bit more. So operation expenditures remain the same. So payments for any business software or cloud computing services that facilitate the operation of your business, products, service delivery, the processing, payment or tracking of payroll expenses, human resource expenses, sales and billing functions, or accounting or tracking of supplies, software, inventory, records, and expenses. So anything that falls into those categories will be considered as operational expenses, okay? Supplier costs. Expenditures made to suppliers for goods that are essential to the operation of your business at the time the expenditure is made. And any contracts, orders, purchase orders in effect before the PPP loan was dispersed, or in this case of perishable goods in effect before or during the covered period of the loan. You can use the money for those costs. Worker protection expenditures, so certain operating and capital expenditures to facilitate the adaptation of the business activities of the borrower to comply with federal health and safety guidelines, related to COVID-19. So anything you had to do to, get your business up and running and operational to remain COVID-19 safe. The cost for those items, you can also use the PPP money for, whether you're a new or second draw applicant. Property damage. So you guys know that during 2020 there were lots of property damage that was related to vandalism, looting, due to the public disturbances that occurred in 2020 that wasn't covered by your insurance companies or other compensation. You can also use the money to repair that damage. That's something that wasn't clear on the first one. So the second draw, you can use that money as long as your business is still open, etc. As long as you've met the criteria as far as you've seen a loss of 25%, you're in qualified areas, you can apply for the second draw of the PPP loan. And also, if you've not applied the first time, you can apply this time to get the actual loan. So, like their forebearers, the second round loans are also forgivable, provided that you put the payroll cost is at least 60% of all borrowed funds. It can be considered forgivable. Any operating expenses, repairs, contract payments, and upgrades to personal protective equipment reserves, you can use that money and you can qualify those expenses to be forgiven. That's a good thing as well. Second draw loan funds must also be used within 8 to 24 weeks of receiving the loan in order for it to be forgiven. So, if you had the loan and you didn't use it for any of those items that I've mentioned earlier within that 8 to 24 weeks, then that portion of the loan won't be forgiven. Right? But if you did, whatever amount that you used during that time frame is forgivable. The EIDL is not forgivable. It's got 30 years to pay for that bad boy. Now, the advance is, but the EIDL loan itself is not. All right? Also, one thing to note about the Paycheck Protection Program, you have 5 years to pay all that money back at a 1% interest rate. Keep that in mind as well. So only get what you need. Don't go try to get your come up off of it, because this money does have to be paid back. Any expenses outside of the forgivable allowances have to be repaid. So remember that. Okay, keep up with your records, keep track of everything. They can also ask to look at your books at any given time. They reserve the right. So make sure it's clean. Make sure you're doing what you need to do. Stay in good contact, with good graces with your bookkeepers. If you're keeping the books yourself, make sure you have a separate account for these expenses, and make sure it's trackable. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you've got your receipts. Keep it as clean as possible. You do not want to get in trouble with these people, okay? All right. Now, some are asking for the first time, how do I apply? Or even those who are asking for the second time, who do I work with? You definitely work with those for the second time drawers. You can work with those that you worked with previously on the first time, all right? You can also, if you've gone and you've exhausted those avenues and say, hey, we're not doing anything, go to SBA.gov. I'm going to drop the link here. There's funding programs that's there that they have listed, and there's a lender matching opportunity and portion of their site that will match you to lenders. And there's also a map that will show you that you can go to for your state, and it'll show you all of the lenders and finance partners that can help you get help you apply for your second draw or the first time. And I'll drop that in the link. So listen, if you have any questions, if there's anything that I didn't cover and you want to know, drop me a message at TheSavonExperience@gmail.com so I can cover it in future videos for you. I'm here to help those who may not have the information that they need, or it's hard to find, matching partners. I went through it alone by myself. I want to help as many people as I possibly can. So I will drop the link. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel, even if it's just for the EIDL PPP portion of my videos and playlists. Definitely, I love to have you here. And also remember, key things I'll highlight real quickly because I know you want to go. We're at 15 minutes. It's time to go. Make sure you fit the criteria for the loss of income, 25%. It's 30%, I think, for EIDL, but 25%. You have to look at any particular quarter of 2020 and compare it to 2019 to show that loss. You have to be in low income areas, meaning your business has to be located in low income areas or areas that fall within a certain median as far as household income. You have to also make sure that the funds are used for operational costs. There are a few areas that I just recently reviewed that you can use it for new costs that was not a part of the original first draw of PPP. So make sure you're going out to SBA.gov, you're using the lender match option, you're using the map to find you a lender that's close to you. And if you have any other questions, like, share, and subscribe, and send them and comment below. Let me know that you're using this information and it's helpful. That way I know what to cover more for you. And hopefully my next video will be a nice update for EIDL, us folks who are waiting for the EIDL, that can help you as you move forward in your process. All right. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night. Bye-bye.